I used to need like 3 or 4 people in order to make production happen at my church on Sunday mornings, whether that's lights, cameras, audio, running slides, but now I can really do it with just one person. In today's video, we're going to discuss 4 different things about timecode. The first one is what it is and why it's different than MIDI. The second one is how do we structure timecode to control things like our multitracks, our lighting console, slides computer, our audio console. The third thing is what we get back from our volunteers and how we can actually do more with less. And then how to actually keep all of this organized in one document so once you've built a song, you don't have to go back and do it every single week. Today we're going to be talking a lot about volunteers, and it brings up a very good question. If you had a high leverage Sunday, would your team be able to pull it off without skipping a beat? Well, I actually have an assessment that you can take right now. It's a free quiz. You just follow the link in my description below or in the first pinned comment, and it will give you a couple questions to ask. You will answer them, and then you will get an assessment back that will tell you, hey, you're good to go. Your team will be able to handle it, or you got some work to do. That quiz, like I said, is absolutely free. You can find it down in the description below or in that first pinned comment. Now, let's get back to the video. What is timecode and how is it different than MIDI? The plain answer is it's an audio file, and it's one of the most awful things that you will ever hear. Here, let me play a clip of it right now. It sucks, but no one's ever going to hear that. What it's doing is it's actually just syncing commands to specific parts of the time in your performance or your service or your presentation. And it differs from MIDI because MIDI is just running commands at certain points. We get to a certain point in the timeline, it does next command, it does next command. Whereas timecode is it saves the commands on what's going on in your presentation. So you can skip around from chorus to bridge to verse, and all of your parts of your presentation, your video, your tracks, your lighting is all going to be synced together, and it will jump to those specific parts of the video or the slides or the lights. So let me talk you through my actual flow. I have a multitracks computer that runs timecode on it, and it's got its own address. And so that address is usually 0 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds, and whatever frame rate you set it. And I usually set mine at 30 frames per second. That audio file then leaves my multitracks computer over Dante to my audio console. That audio console then splits the audio out to multiple different locations. And for our purposes right now, we're just going to talk about one. It goes to the ProPresenter computer, and then ProPresenter is listening for specific parts of the timecode. So let's say you had a segment of 0 hours, 10 minutes, and 0 seconds. Everything that's synced after that 10-minute mark is going to follow the timeline like normal. So if you have videos that are going to fire at the 10-minute mark, if you've got specific slides that are going to hit after the 10-minute mark, all of that will happen. So let's run through that again real quick. Multitracks computer sending audio over Dante to your audio console, and then your audio console sending out that audio signal, that timecode audio, to whatever sources you need to send it to. And in this situation, we're sending it to the ProPresenter computer. And the magic is when it's saved in a file, it's saved forever. So you've built a song 1 week, and you never have to build it again unless you change the version of the song that you do. But for the most part, it's saved, and you never have to build it again. So that brings up the next best part is how do we make sure that we're not having to rebuild every single time? Well, you got to stay organized, right? So I actually just keep an Excel spreadsheet with 2 different columns. The first column is the name of the song, and the second column is the actual timecode address. And so, for example, let's say we have Build My Life, and it starts off at 0 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds, and 0 frames. It's the very first song on the timecode. It will always be that number. And then we move on to the next song, which could be We Praise You. That would be then 0 hours, 10 minutes, 0 seconds, 0 frames. So every time that 10-minute mark hits, the tracks and the slides and the lights for We Praise You will fire the same way every single time. And we save these in here. I do them in 10-minute increments. You could do 5, but I just do 10 to keep some buffer room in the timecode itself so nothing overlaps on top of each other. But I just keep this all in an Excel spreadsheet, and as with the weeks go on, I just simply pull the song back up the next time, and the library begins to build out slowly over time. Now, you don't have to go about creating every single song in your library in 1 week. You can decide something simple like, we're just going to do one song on timecode this week for the next few months until eventually you have a library built up. And then you look up in a couple months and you have a whole library of songs that are assigned to a different timecode address, and you're able to just pull it up that Sunday and you're good to go with the same lights and the same visuals that you've programmed months before. By the way, I mentioned multitracks earlier. If you're interested in getting started using multitracks in your services, I actually have a video that I've been working on, and I might bump it up in the queue to get it done faster if you guys are interested in how to get started using multitracks in your services. Let me know down in the comments below if you're interested. That's how this video came out so fast. We actually had a user that asked if we could go ahead and do the timecode video, so we skipped it ahead of the queue and took care of it now. We'll do the same thing for multitracks if you guys show me that you're interested down in the comments below. Now, how does this change the way that you run production? Well, at the beginning, I opened up and I told you that something that would normally take 3 to 4 volunteers, I can do it with technically 1 person now. This is where the value comes in. This is where the irresistible environment comes in, because you're not having to use the same people every single week. You can build a rotation between maybe your 3 to 4 people and trust that they're able to handle more you're using something that's automated like timecode than if every person had to have their hands on a very specific production element. And it really frees up the ability for people to maybe cover multiple roles. Like right now, I'm actually working towards something that we haven't started yet, but I imagine a world over the next couple months where my ProPresenter operator has an auxiliary camera and they're actually filming like the drummer and the guitar player getting moving shots. And then when worship is over, they put that camera on a stationary tripod and move back to the booth to run the slides for the pastor's message. This piece of technology creates an opportunity like crazy. You can really start to give people multiple roles or run more with less people, thus creating this irresistible environment that people want to be on this team, plus creating the irresistible environment of the space of being able to do more with the technology that you have. Now, how do you get started doing this? Now, like I said earlier, you don't have to do all your songs in one setting. Create a library, do 1 song a week. Eventually, your library will get built up in a way to where you're only really making a new timecode track once a week for 1 song, or maybe 1 song every 2, 3, maybe even 4 weeks. Now, this was never about the technology or amount of people that you can just cram into 1 production booth, or the amount of jobs you can ask 1 production person to do. It's ultimately about doing the thing that we've been talking about for the past couple months, and that is to create an irresistible environment. Not just the service in itself. Yes, that will be a byproduct of the service and creating an irresistible environment, but it also is creating one for your production team, where instead of having the same 4 or 5 people come in and serve every single Sunday, you can narrow down the amount of people you need in the booth and give them more responsibility with automations, and then really get to a place where they're worshiping 1 week and serving another. Earlier, I mentioned lighting, and sometimes it's really difficult to get our church leadership to get on board with starting to use lighting in a church setting because it's just expensive to get started. I actually have my favorite budget lighting software that I've been using for the past 6 years that I believe any church can jump on and start using now, because it's the most volunteer-friendly thing that I've ever used and experienced, and it is well worth the money. If you want to learn more about it, you can actually check out this video right here. It'll take you directly to it, where you can hear how much it is and how easy it is to get started using that software.